Okay. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another episode of the Paladina Show. I'm Christine Padavon, the Paladina, and today we have a really special guest. I'm very, very excited. Um, a great guy, a colleague of mine as well, Michael Clogs of Depictions Media. And what I found fascinating talking to Michael when we were going over podcasting and the other services his company does, Depictions Media, was that he is a former chemist. And as all of today happens to be February 27, almost the end of February. And as you've seen in the news, there's been a rash of more bouts of flu and quite extreme. And hang on, our internet is just a little unstable. Hang on. Okay, we're back. And as you know, with this new bout of flu that's been going around, it's been pretty extreme. And I've even had some colleagues I've walked through in getting recovered because they've been suffering maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, trying to get over this really bad flu. And I wanted to bring Michael on because he's a former chemist and he was involved and understands the process of how a flu shot is created. So it's great to have you on, Michael, to kind of go through some of the history on how flu shots were created and what are they like now? And what is your recommendation, whether somebody should get a flu shot or not get a flu shot? So one of the first questions I want to ask you, Michael, is what is the most common way to produce a flu vaccine?
The most common way and is the old school way, and it takes a bunch of eggs. uh,
Now when you say eggs, Michael, is it chicken eggs? Is it a particular egg or
Chicken eggs.
chicken eggs? Okay.
Yeah, chicken eggs. uh, the proteins in that involve a chicken egg. It's like anything else. It's kind of a chicken egg is kind of a large cell sort of thing. But the proteins that are in it actually promote the growth of the virus itself,
Hmm.
so that you have a multitude of vaccine virus cells to create the vaccine from.
Hmm.
So it allows the incubation of the vaccine so that you can actually create your vaccine from it. So
Hmm.
yeah, because you need that base cell in order to start creating your vaccine. So chicken eggs.
Chicken
Uh,
eggs. Okay.
yeah,
And now, how far back do you know the history? Because I think that's very interesting because I don't know this as well. When were the flu shots ever created? Do you know that date or how far back
I
do
don't
flu
know
shots go?
the exact date. Uh, but at this point, we're probably close to 100 years ago when they
100?
first started
Okay.
doing it.
Okay,
Yeah,
wow. So it's not like around turn of the century, like when penicillin was created around, what is it, like
yeah,
1920 or
yeah.
something? Gotcha.
All in that same era of things. We started being able to not only know that washing our hands in certain chemicals, um, or a certain temperature of water we kill germs, that we also learned how to incubate those same germs, and then be able to kill them. Antibiotics are also uh, just it falls in the same time frame. It's like
Right.
we learned
Yeah.
a
The
bunch of
petri
these
dish,
things all
right?
at
Mold in the
once.
petri dish. How
Old
that,
old in the petri dish.
that's
Yep.
right. Exactly.
So,
Okay.
um,
And so my next question is then, Michael, is why is the egg method not as desirable a method in creating the shot?
the egg pushes forward, you have the virus cells, and then you're able to create the vaccine, and then you take from there, you take it and you put it into some other basic chemicals so that you can actually uh, deliver it via syringe or something like that. Your vaccine. So,
No, I understand, but one of the questions here on the list was why is the egg method not as desirable or less desirable as a method?
oh, it takes way too long to actually develop the vaccine because it takes a longer number of days to be able to produce your vaccine. You have a waiting period for the incubation.
Okay.
The later two methods after that have either a shorter incubation period or or the the um, the vaccine cell is actually completely synthesized.
Okay.
So,
And as an example of that, Michael, do you remember when swine flu came out? Um, this was around 2008, I believe. And I guess there was an issue with creating the vaccine for swine flu in that season. Uh, is there any history that you know what exactly went wrong in creating it?
um, the there's a large uh thought of there's a large chunk of error that can be created because you're trying to they when they create one vaccine to the next vaccine from year to year, you're you're uh you're guessing at how the virus is going to mutate because of last year's vaccine. Does that make
So,
sense?
got
So if you make a mistake in the direction of how it's going to mutate, then you create a useless vaccine.
oh, I gotcha. Okay. All right.
Does that make
And
sense?
yeah, it does, it's just
Yeah.
it's not an exact science in the sense that they kind of know. My understanding is they have a sense of what kind of flu is out there from I don't know how they're collecting it, but then they're it's hard to guess the exact strain, I guess, right?
Right. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because we even saw that during the pandemic, that the virus itself started to mutate. There's different strains of the COVID virus, but it was still the COVID virus.
Right. Right. Delta and all that, Omicron,
Yeah,
all
all the
that, these
yeah,
variants.
Omicron, all that. Yes. Um, so so if you guess completely wrong, then your vaccine doesn't um, teach the host body that you're trying to make immune. It doesn't create the immunity that you want.
Right. It's so basically it's kind of just a useless shot, basically. It's not doing anything for that particular flu that you got, right? I mean, it's just not doing anything
Right.
for that
Mhm.
particular flu.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Um,
All right. And this is an interesting question here. So, what does cell culture tech mean? What does that mean?
it basically would the culture basically means the the strain or the the mutation that you're tracking the virus taking.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit or what?
It like trying to guess how a baby's going to grow.
Oh,
Does that make
okay.
sense? It's
All
like
right.
uh um to completely dumb it down. Okay. Let's take it from the point of view of a baby. We're both parents, right?
No, I'm not. Unfortunately,
Oh,
no. So,
oh,
yeah.
okay. Uh, well, those who are listening that are parents, you'll completely understand this. That they have this loose saying that if you take a child's height at the age of 2 and double it over, you should be able to guess how tall they're going to be as an adult.
Hmm. Interesting. I
Okay.
didn't know that. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. And it hits about 75% of the time.
Oh,
It's going to
okay.
be dead. It's going to be dead on, right? Uh, and then you have variations of that afterwards. For example, my son, when he hit 2, he was just over 3 feet tall, which meant that he was going to be about 6'7".
Mm.
Well, as a grown up at the age of 18, he's 6'5".
Oh, wow. So that's pretty accurate.
It's yeah, um, but in a lot of other areas of science, they the amount of accuracy that it is means that the saying fails because it's not
Hmm.
accurate enough. But trying to guess how something is going to grow or which direction it's going to grow is not exactly it's not exact.
Right. Right.
It's still a guess, right? It's
Yeah.
a it's a controlled guess, but it's still a guess. So that's what happens from year to year. They're they try to guess what the next strain is going to look like, how it's going to mutate, and it's not a truly exact science, but it is a pretty good educated guess.
Hmm. Okay.
And for intensive purposes for our society, educated guesses are very acceptable
Hmm.
if you're following a certain logic. So yeah.
Right. Right. And now, yeah, this is pretty interesting. So with cell culture technology, right? How does that help in antigen production for creating a flu shot?
And there it is, and that's the whole point. The antigen is what is the is your body's immune response.
Oh,
So
okay.
say in the cases of COVID, remember how they were passing out all these COVID tests things, these spit on tests or whatever they had at the time. What they were looking for was in your bodily fluids was a certain type of antigen to show up that meant that you had come in contact with the virus because it's your body's immune response.
I remember them talking about that. Now, with that, your body is supposed to have some sort of buildup of, I guess, that it looks like you had the virus, but your body resisted it. Is that kind of the
Kind
layman's
of,
terms for it?
kind of it. Um, it's trying to resist.
Right.
Um,
It's giving
in
you the virus and and seeing that your body is resisting it.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Now, yeah, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, and that's one of the reasons why they tried to introduce the in the flu virus. They try to introduce a deadened virus, a deadened cell,
Right.
not a
Right.
live cell. The live cell is, hey, I actually really gave you the flu, and you're going to get really sick. But if it's deadened, it's um, it's not going to make you sick
Right. And
in most cases.
right. Now I heard the opposite when they first came out with the COVID shots, that it was live. I believe it was live. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it live virus? And then they said later that was the mistake. It should have been a dead virus. I mean, put in the shots. Did you hear that?
I did hear something about that. It Things were happening so fast
Fast.
with COVID during the pandemic that they came up with this whole thing in 11 months. And there was a number of scientists. I was already just on message boards doing physics kind of stuff for you know uh, j- it, the fun stuff of about how our universe works and why the stars are so brilliant and bright and all that kind of stuff. It's like the really fun stuff. I had pretty much pulled out of some of the medical parts of science. But things were happening so fast that they came up with this thing in 11 months. And over the past 100 years of learning how this works, of studying how germs work and all that kind of stuff, that we I didn't expect that vaccine. Well, let's put it this way. I think we would have just had the first viable vaccines according to my timeline with all the safeties put in place. But the World Health Organization, uh, they were calling the shots on this, and or should say they should have been the ones calling the shots on it. Um, that they pulled the plug on some of the safeties, and 11 months later, we had a workable vaccine ready to go to the world.
Right. And what's interesting is because you were indicating to me on a separate conversation that flu shots, which used to be created by incubation, right? Incubation in an egg, right? Are no
Incubation
longer
is
made that
yes.
way, right? Is that
No,
the
the antigen protein is actually completely synthesized now.
when you say synthesize, can you explain to our layman audience what does that mean to synthesize? What does that mean?
Synthesized means it's completely man-made.
Oh, really?
Yes,
So not
using
injected in an
computer
egg to
models.
create a natural, no. So,
Yeah, it's
okay.
completely, and it's um it's also done by way of computer modeling.
Wow.
Yeah,
Interesting. So,
yeah. It's a very interesting way uh, that through the years what we learned was uh, the RNA, and this is an important thing to note that um, viruses, unlike bacteria, are single strands RNA, and which is ribonucleic acid, and the double helix that we talk about in genetics is diribonucleic acid, which means that you have two strands of these nucleic acids running, which is DNA.
right. Okay. All right. So what we're talking about right now. Okay, hang on. Hang on. Our audio is just, yeah, hang on. Now we're back. Audio stopped for a second. Yeah, sorry. I wanted to hang on for a second. So now flu shots are not made technically naturally. They're synthetically created, right?
Yeah,
And they are using RNA technology, correct?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So with mRNA technology, so what could happen if a shot or a so-called vaccine is completely manufactured from our RNA technology?
Well, it's the important uh, thing to remember in the M means in mRNA means memory, so it's programmable.
Right.
In the end turns out to be completely programmable.
Right. And from how it was explained to me through Dr. Standinger, was that it was supposed to be able to program, say, a shot to deliver a certain amount of ingredient to cells, I guess, in the sense faster. Is that correct, Michael?
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty accurate. I would describe it slightly differently, but he's got it. Uh, um, it's kind of I would explain it slightly differently in the fact that I remember this as kids that people thought if you put on somebody else's eyeglasses that there was medicine inside of the glass, and what it
Mm,
was is the glass was carved in a certain direction to match the person's eyes. Well, when I'm saying that it's programmable, that it's not it's not the it's not that it has a different set of chemicals with it, but it has a different set of instructions.
hmm
Say a binary code. It turns out that RNA contains a binary code inside of it, like a computer,
Right.
which is makes nature amazing. That nature all along has been operating like a computer the whole time. It's just that we're now just realizing it, which is amazing. But at the same time, um, let's just propose that somebody makes a mistake in actually coding the RNA. Let's just propose somebody makes a mistake, then could they do harm to a person?
hmm And what would be, Michael, what would be an example of that? Is that, as Dr. Standinger pointed out, as most people get all upset about, with say, COVID shots and now the new mRNA flu shots, that
Mhm.
their DNA is slightly damaged. What's
I,
the,
he's
yeah,
probably he's probably he's I would probably definitely agree with that. It's slightly damaged. Um, but it damaged to the point that are you going to turn it like with radiation sickness? Are you going to be turned into a blob because of it? No,
no, right, no,
probably not
I
going to turn
explained that
into a
in
blob
a
because
DNA,
of it.
yeah, we explained that
Uh,
about,
but
damaged DNA
but
can be
but it
reversed and
it, it could
yeah.
have some permanent repercussions.
Well, hang on with the audio. I guess yes, in a sense, it could have permanent repercussions if you don't do something to get it out. I mean, she and I talked about how you can
Yeah,
remove, yeah, and let the DNA repair itself if you remove the
yeah,
piece that's, yeah, sticking
yeah,
in the
yeah.
DNA. Yeah.
Like I'm not an expert on how to on the removal. Um, I only know the theoretical what could happen if if a wrong program is introduced into a body.
Okay.
What I like about joining in with you is that you have so many fountains of knowledge that you cause this huge stream of knowledge. So I would advise somebody if they want to find out, go to that episode that you have where you talk to that expert and
Right.
they'll have the best advice
Right.
because yeah there is a way to remove it or correct or something like that, yes.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So, in with this RNA, because I think you have more of a handle on what it is and why certain that certain scientists didn't want it. I'm having a brain fart at what his name is, who said don't use mRNA technology to deliver, what I mean, the vaccine or that all the issues that could happen with it. Um, what is what is more of, I think because you just explained it, RNA versus DNA, there is a huge difference between the two, right? RNA is the programmable, hang on a second with the audio,
Yeah.
hang on. Okay. RNA is programmable and artificial, DNA is natural, right?
No, it's more it's more of DNA is a is two strands put together and are
That's right.
and that's level back. Bacteria is the first living entity uh, with DNA, and viruses are technically they're alive, but they're single strand, just the RNA.
Just the RNA is a
Yeah,
that's what so
yeah.
the RNA is just a like a single strand virus.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
Single strand virus. Um, so it looks like one's it looks like a squiggly snake,
Okay.
and DNA looks like
Right. It's kind
a
of like this.
ladder.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
The twisted squirrely ladder thing.
Right. Right.
So because and you start to see where the programs start to join together.
Okay.
You look at DNA and RNA, when you look at this squiggly worm thing, that it may not be so obvious of where the genetic programming is coming in, but
Mm.
it's definitely there.
Okay.
We, nucleic acid is ribonucleic acid is an amazing thing that nature came up with to deliver information from one being to another being
Hmm.
as we reproduce.
Yeah, no, it is. It is
So
amazing. Our human bodies are just,
mm,
amazing with our cells and molecules and how everything comes together and functions. Um, so what is your take, Michael, now that you're relaying to us that flu shots are no longer naturally incubated
yeah,
and they are just now artificially synthesized in a lab. What is your take on the safety of current flu shots? And because I think that's been
I,
going on for how long has it been synthesized, Michael? Has it been 4 years, 5 years? When
it's maybe 4 or 5 years. Yeah,
four or
it's
five
somewhere in that
years?
range. Yeah,
It's been, yeah.
it's still pretty in comparison to 100 years. Yeah, it's still pretty new. Um, it I think that the community needs more checks and balances to it. I think we might be moving a little fast.
Hmm.
Uh, and um, the first instance that I heard of the mRNA technology and manipulation was done to cause an immunity for cancer.
Mm,
Now, I'm going to attest to cancer because my brother-in-law, he had this golf ball sized tumor
mm.
in his head. Okay. And because of this programmable immune thing that they created for him, he was given a death sentence 7 years ago. And just the other day, my wife and him were on the phone with each other celebrating his birthday.
Oh, it's not great.
So it's definitely a good thing. Um, it's just I think we need more checks and balances to it so that we don't do a harm to each other.
Right, right. I
And
had,
I'm not saying that it's intentional harm. I'm just saying, yeah,
right. Right. I did have when on that I think it was that same DNA episode I did a couple of years ago to address this issue that people were concerned with. Someone did comment from the UK that they were seeing the same problems with the new mRNA flu shots, and
Hmm.
that it was definitely with the elderly causing major problems. So, I mean, so it has also been noticed with flu
Yeah,
shots. Yeah.
yeah. Um, there's there is a lot of research coming up, but it's because it's still only 5 years worth of research that we we still don't know exactly long term. And
Right.
you know,
So as a former chemist, Michael, because of your vast experience and knowledge in this area, what is your recommendation to people if, I mean, because I know you're also into natural solutions and everything. What is your recommendation to people for, keeping the flu at bay or just
well,
viruses in general?
and this is something that medical science has it right about age groups. That the early age groups, like you probably want to do the immunization, like for babies, infants, right? Yeah, you probably do because their immune system is still learning and it's still very programmable and willing and wanting to learn new tricks and new ways of keeping this person alive. um but as we get older, you probably want to stay with the more traditional kind of vaccines, going back to the egg versions, because of well, we become stiffer and tougher as we get older, right?
Hmm.
And then you have everybody else in the middle that um, I I haven't had a flu vaccine personally. I have not had a flu vaccine in about maybe 10 years.
Hmm.
I will say this much, that I have actually gotten the real flu, the real like take a baseball bat and knock your knees out kind of sick, high fever, um, kind of of sickness, where I was bedridden for a week or so. I've That's happened to me twice in those 10 years, and that tells me that my immune system had had to reset.
Hmm.
Nature gave me the vaccine itself with that reset. Um, the issue is with with that particular method of like, oh, I'll just wait for nature to make me sick, sort of thing. Um, Depending on your age group, it could be very dangerous.
Well,
Medical science
right.
has proven that.
Right.
So,
And that's why,
uh,
I talk about boosting the immune system as that Italian doctor did in 1970 with his elderly patients that were getting pneumonia, which is like a
yeah,
coronavirus, and boosting their immune system with glutathione, seeing that that's what is naturally in all our cells, but we just get depleted as we get older and get
yeah,
more, yeah, we just get more
you
susceptible
talk
to
you
stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah, you talk about your use of glutathione and things like that. I will also I have um, a let's put it this way. I off and on periodically throughout the year, I go through a few weeks where I actually take first thing in the morning. I take 2 tablespoons of real. You got to make sure that you're going to a place that actually sells real food vinegars
Oh,
and
food.
get
You said a
the
food
cider vinegar
vinegar,
that way,
Michael?
and just have a couple tablespoons and just do 6 weeks on and then 6 weeks off.
But
And
hang on, Michael.
it
What's it called again? You
keeps
said
your
vinegar. It's a type of
pH
vinegar.
level at about 6.5, 6.6, which makes your immune system work at its peak potential. Oh,
Hang on, hang on.
I think
Something.
it glitched on us.
Hang on. I need you to go back a little bit, Michael. And I'll edit this. I'll edit this section here to put this in. Explain. Just go back a little bit. Explain what you do. And I think you said it was a food vinegar. Is that correct? Hang on. Hang on, Michael, you
Yeah,
froze. Yeah, it's a food vinegar.
yeah, it froze again.
Yeah,
Okay.
hang on a
Are you
second. I'm
there?
going to see if I can up the
Yeah, I
do a 5G or something. Hang on.
worse.
Yeah, hang on. I wanted you to go back a little bit on that so people understand exactly what you mean by a food vinegar, is that like white vinegar? Is that apple cider vinegar? Is there like yeah, I just
Okay.
want you to
Yeah,
clarify this way people,
I
and
figured you would be.
I'll put it as a text in the over the screen so people understand that. But yeah, that would be helpful to know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that might help a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so Michael, can you just go back a little bit? I want to clarify what is that type of vinegar? You talked about a certain vinegar and making sure what kind it was.
Okay. If you go to a supermarket and you go and you buy like your vinegars, they don't have any pulp or rinds to them or anything like that, right? It's been the manufacturing process and is exactly that. The manufacturing process has removed all of nature from it, and they've killed the usefulness of the vinegar. If you go to an organic source, like we have, um, there's a bulk vinegar and olive oil store right up the
Hmm.
street from me, and they actually will have they can actually trace where they got where they sourced that vinegar from all the
Hmm.
way back to a farm and where
Wow.
they pressed the apples and and fermented it and all that kind of stuff, let it age to the point that did you have your vinegar. So you want to go someplace like that where they can actually trace all the way back to where that apple was grown on the tree
Oh,
and
wow. Okay.
and then pressed and then till until it got to the vinegar stage. Um, there's an important reason for that is when we start purifying foods too far, we remove the good stuff, the stuff that nature wanted us to have, right?
Right.
um, and I think a lot of your listeners probably already know that to go to more organic places to get their food and their vitamins. Um, uh, and there's other things like this. I go did I also add into some of my regimen is I also use like a licorice tea or different types of
Hmm.
tea. And again, the tea place I go to that um they describe their tea growers if they don't have like insect the tea doesn't have insect bite marks on it or they don't hear birds chirping and they don't see little woodland creatures running around through the fields, they won't buy their tea
Mm.
because if the insects, the birds, and the little woodland creatures don't like what you're doing, you might want to double check if you want to
Right.
put it in your
If they're
body.
not if they're not going to chew on that apple or chew on the whatever, then it's probably not
Yeah,
going to be good for us
exactly.
either, right?
Yeah, exactly it. And so it's just my way of I don't know. I just sat down with with a doctor who created these frozen tea bar treats for kids for her kids is what it was. And she was a immune science and food person um, as well as a medical doctor. And I interviewed her, and um, I interviewed her like 10 years ago, and she described it, painted this beautiful picture of this of the tea and the fruit trees that some of her teas came from. Um, and I was like, oh, wow, that sounds wonderful, and it made sense. So when your listeners are going to hear this and it's going to make sense to them that, oh yeah, that all of these other creatures want to partake in the crop, then that means that the crop doesn't have the nasty stuff in it.
Right.
You've gone through so many of those things like the glycospates and all those other mean and nasty things that that you try to help people get back out of their bodies
Right.
because if food purveyors put it there. Um, and those things help our immune system to stay alive.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So is
so
it
it's
so it's
the
apples
sources.
so for you, Michael, when you have like a really bad flu or cold, you recommend you take is it apple cider vinegar, but it's in its raw state,
Yeah, it's in its raw state and it's also licorice tea
licorice
where
tea. But how
yeah,
much apple cider vinegar are you taking? Is it what was the
two
amount
table
again?
two teaspoons. Yeah, it doesn't have to be exact. Just grab a spoon that you would stir your tea with,
Okay. And can you just would you
and
put it in your tea, the vinegar,
um yeah, you can
or take it
put it in
just straight
if you're gonna take it just straight, make sure you have a glass of water
water?
sitting
Okay.
nearby because I have had this. I usually advise people to mix it into the water or
Mm-hmm.
to mix it into their tea, uh,
Okay.
and
Okay.
then drink it because if you just shoot it straight,
Yeah,
you
it's
can
a
get
little
caught
bit.
in the back of your throat and you might
Yeah.
have a gag or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you're a person that has a pretty extreme gag reflex, yeah, you definitely want to make sure you mix it in the water first.
Okay. And
Yeah.
is it 2 teaspoons a day?
Yeah, just
Okay.
once a day. Yeah.
Once a day.
It's the old adage of do you remember the term alkali?
Yeah.
Yeah. It basically just means that you're adjusting the pH of your body
Right.
back to that alkali term. Yeah,
Right.
alkali body is a happy body.
Right. Yeah, I forget the it's youth something. I don't know if it's called youth theory or there's a website for us voice artists where they have to alkalize the body. It's kind of a special lemon lime
Yeah.
concoction. Yeah.
Yeah, there is it's I was going to say that there is another way of doing it. I use the apple cider vinegar one method because I'm allergic to citrus.
Oh, it's good that
Yeah,
you're mentioning
but
that.
you
Yeah.
take a warm lemon water. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the warm lemon water works just fine for a lot of people. Uh,
Okay. And you're doing that every day for how long
I
when
do it for
you
6 weeks on and 6 weeks off
gotcha.
because
Okay.
we don't want to. If you program too far, your body resists
Mm-hmm.
or it
That's
has less
true.
of an effect.
Right.
So if you do a 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off, that and there's a lot of really cool things that happen with that. Um, those those systems that remove the goop from our body and gets the waste out of us, our liver and our kidneys. It keeps it that if you were to be able to take a picture, they stay in stay the perfect color.
Mm. Okay. Pretty cool.
Um, as you know, like cirrhosis is a more yellow looking liver.
Yeah.
Well, imagine your liver staying pink up until um, there's a battery expiration date for a human being. Um, Imagine that when that battery expiration date comes up, that all of your organs are still healthy looking,
Yeah.
just you ran out of energy.
Right. To keep going. Right.
Yeah. You know, that there is always going to be that for us human beings that our battery is eventually going to run out.
Yeah.
Something we have to face, but um, you know, but if you keep everything else running well, there's no reason why we can't be happy and bounce and play the whole way till, you
Right.
know, right?
Till our heart says it. It's time to say sayonara.
Yeah, yeah. It's like,
Right.
so yeah. And but you have so many experts on your show that have. So my advice is take a little bit of each what one of us says
Hmm.
and relate it to you until it works for you, you know. And
Right, right. These
like
natural
it's because like
virus remedies that have been
yeah,
around for centuries, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
centuries,
We can't
eons,
we can't
even.
we
Yeah.
can't just simply toss away thousands of years of study. I know the term old wives' tale, but the reason why it's old wives' tale is because it, hey, that particular wife, she had this happy, bouncy family. So listen to her, right? That's where the saying came from.
Yeah,
So
no, it really is. I mean, all this information that Dr. Staninger has taught me, it's all from nature. It's all natural.
right.
So yeah, and from what you're
So
talking with
don't throw that.
that wonderful doctor you met,
Yeah.
that's yeah,
So don't throw all those thousands of years of research and progress that we've done as a human beings, as a human race, uh, for um, everything that's done sterile now. You know, um, it's sterile is it's good, it's useful, it's but we have to, in order to live, we have to combine it all together so that we have a well-lived plan.
right, right.
So,
Well, Michael,
uh,
it's been so wonderful having you on with your background and giving us a little bit of history on because flu right now is been
yes,
raging right now, and a little bit of this background on flu shots, um, how they were originally done, and I thought there was
no,
still a little bit of
it
incubation process,
yeah,
so it's very interesting to know now
I,
it's completely
yeah,
synthesized, and yes, there's definitely some issues with RNA and with what's going on with it
yeah.
as an mRNA
I
process.
guess the bottom line, though, I don't want people thinking um, that there is any malicious intent from any one given person in a laboratory.
Right.
Or there's no mad scientist sort of none of that. Um,
No.
but
No.
but at the same time, in we need to impress on people that do what's going to protect you. You know,
Right.
you should know yourself the best.
Right.
So, right.
Well, Michael, I we could talk for hours, on all these really cool things, but we're going to well, let's wrap it up for today, and
Okay.
hopefully you can come back and give us some more wonderful insights. And oh, how can people contact you? What's the best way
Oh,
people can
um,
contact you for your depiction media services and stuff?
um, our basic news blog website is depictions.media. So if you can remember depictions media, just put the dot in there and between depictions and media and you've got us. Otherwise, it would be my email address is michael@depictionsmedia.com,
Okay.
for our email servers. Yeah.
Okay. And what
So
is
if
it
you
that
have
you
a
do
cool
now?
story.
Is it more video? I know you do
Ah,
documentaries and but you do
yeah.
editing and you do a lot of other things too, right?
Yeah, we do a lot of editing, and as far as our documentaries are concerned, the well, we've won awards doing them, uh,
Mm-hmm.
um, and our idea of it is let's just get the story out there, and so that people can actually view it, hear it, whatever it is that that they need it. So that the story gets out there. Because if we don't tell the stories, we're going to keep repeating our same mistakes.
Very
right?
true. Thank
Yeah.
you, Michael. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be talking to you again soon, all right?
All right. See you
Okay.
soon. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.